Today we will have a look at the new MFX module from ALM, which is of course also available in hardware. ALM now ported this module into VCV-Rack. They are also sponsoring this video, so thank you so much. I want to go quickly over the module and how to use it more or less, and then we will dig deeper into sound design ideas. So basically the MFX module is a multi-effects module with all sorts of different algorithms. So there are delays, reverbs, compression, distortion, and so on. Right, it comes also with the expander that adds also more CV capabilities. Basically, we can scroll through the parameters and the programs or the algorithms, as you can see here with the encoder. This will work also with your keyboard. There are also keyboard shortcuts. Right, but there is also everything in the right-click menu, so we can choose the different engines or algorithms. You can see there are echoes, so delays, reverbs, distortion, compression, transient shaper, panner, ring modulation, frequency, shifter, and so on. Right, and also we can choose the different parameters. And again, this comes also with the expander, which is of course also available in hardware. As you can see, we have here 3 CV inputs that we can map to the different parameters. And with the expander, we can add 4 more CV inputs to this, right? There is a clock input, it's stereo or mono. So let's really quickly have a look at how it sounds like. Right, I have here a sequence. Right, quite a simple sequence. Let's start with the first echo. So I'm going to send it mono in, mono out. Right now, if I click it once, it will go into the different modes, and you can see it's now mono delay. You can see here 1 in, 1 out, but this of course we can change. So again, we can just click the encoder and then change this. Now it's dual tap or stereo tap or ping pong. Right, and now you can see that it's stereo output, right? So I can connect another cable. And it will be stereo. Of course, this we can also change. So for example, if I go to a reverb, right? Also this will be mono in, stereo out. And again, we can change the different parameters. Right, if you go back to the delay, also here we can change many different things, right? We can even have it in reverse, change the beat depth, the feedback with regeneration, have filters, right? We can also sync this to the clock. So if I take the clock output, send it to the clock input, and then I go to the clock parameter and I change this from internal to external. Right, now it will be synced. We can always go back with the back control. Also this, there is a shortcut, a keyboard shortcut that you can use. Right, but now let's, for example, assign something. So let's, for example, I want to assign, let's say, the bandwidth, right, which will do this. Right, and as you can see, if I scroll down, you see it starts with CV3, CV2, and CV1. Right, but if I right-click the encoder, I can also jump directly. Right, I can view the CV options and also jump directly to CV, right, either value or CV1, CV2, CV3. So if now it's on CV1 and I use, let's say, the second row to modulate it, right? Right, so like this we can also modulate the different parameters and control them. Again, there are different algorithms that we will explore, and all of the different parameters. There is also a bypass here that will bypass the module. Right, so let's really start exploring some sound design ideas. So here I have a sequence going with a Bordel sequencer from Bido, sequencing the Opulus voice from Vult. For now it's going through the MFX, but the MFX for now is bypassed, right? So it will sound like this. Right, this is the sequence. And now, first of all, I have here send reverb again with the MFX module. Now you can add as many modules as you want, as many MFX modules as you want, as long as you have the engine set to one thread. If it's more, if it's bigger than one, then you will be able to use only one instance. This is all in the manual, of course, so just keep this in mind, right? So here I'm using another instance with a reverb, with a send reverb. So let's really add this to the Opulus voice. Very nice. Okay, now let's explore distortion, right? So if I right click again, maybe I will zoom in a bit. I will right click and go to engine. I will select the distortion, right? And I will unbypass it. Already we have a distorted sound. Different parameters we have here. We can change the type, soft. Maybe we go with saturation. We can change the drive. Right, we have other parameters like a filter, the output level, the mix, and we have also presets. But now let's actually modulate the drive and control the drive, or sequence the drive, right? So again, I right click, jump to CV, let's use CV1, and I will use the sequencer for this. So there is a sort of velocity or accent output from the sequencer. This will go to CV1, and let's add some distortion on step 1, let's say, and step 5 maybe. Right, I can also add some randomness here. Right, and already we have some movement. You can see here also the parameter is being sequenced. I have here a few more examples. I have some drums. I have the gate sequencer from Impromptu sequencing the VCV drums. So there is a kick. And I have a snare going through another MFX with a delay, right? Just to add a few more hits. And there's also a hi-hat. Now I'm mixing all of those drums with a mixer from Bog Audio, and this is going through another distortion and also a compressor. So there is also a compressor that we will also explore later on, a compressor algorithm, so it will sound like this. I will solo it. Right, just to add some edge to the sound, so within the mix. Right, so you can add another layer to your drums with some distortion and compression. Let's listen to this without. Right, it's nice, but now let's add this edge to it. I have here also a bass. I'm using a kick call from Befaco. I really like using it as a bass voice and not as a kick. And this is going through a reverb. Yes, I'm sending the bass through a reverb because I like sending reverbs to distortions. So this is going also to a distortion. Again, all of this is from the MFX module. Of course, in hardware, probably you don't have, what do I have here, 8 instances, but it's VCV-Rack and you can add as many as you want, again, as long as you are on one thread. So why not using it, right? Okay, here I have a sequence with Neoni from Instruo, right, going through a VCA, and there is an envelope controlling this VCA, and the sequencer itself is the lovely, lovely glass pane from Path Set. It will sound like this. Right, and it goes through a delay with the MFX module. Right, so first of all, again, what we can do, we can sync this delay to the clock. So again, I will go to the parameter clock, change this to external, right, and now I can just grab another clock and connect this to the clock input. Right, and the delay will be synced to the clock. And in this, in the case of this delay, there is also, again, as I've showed you before, the bandwidth that will create this effect. Right, so I have here another sequencer. This is the ADDR sequencer from Bog Audio that I'm going to use to modulate this bandwidth. Right, so again, I will go to CV1 and I will modulate CV1 or sequence CV1 with this sequencer, and let's have a listen. Right? Let's wait for it one more time. Right, just like this, it will add a nice effect to this sequence. I have here also a bass, so I'm using a psych, again from Instruo, going through a filter, and I have sort of complex modulation here set with Oct and a wave folder from Ahero or Athero modulating the cutoff point. And this is going through distortion, and here I have another MFX module that is for now bypassed. I want to show you another thing. So this is the bass. Right, again going through distortion, but now let's have here a compressor. So I will go to the compressor, and then in the modes of the compressor, I can choose sidechain also. So there is stereo, and there is sidechain in the right input, right? Which means that now the audio you input here in the right input of the MFX will be the sidechain signal that will sidechain or will duck. In this case, it's the bass. So what I have here, I have some drums. So I'm going to use the kick, right? Let's unbypass this for a second. And I'm going to use the kick. Right, and you can hear that it's right, that it's a side chain, that it's ducking. Right, so basically the level of the kick will take the level of the bass a bit down. So let's really have a listen to these drums. I have again the gate sequencer sequencing the VCV drums. It's going for now through another bypassed module and another compressor. Right, now I want to show you the preset. So here it's set to echo. If I unbypass this, and I will solo it maybe also. Right, so now it's a normal echo, but let's change a preset. So if I go to the parameter preset, right, we have the initial one, we have Pong, and we have broken taps, and we have drum resonator. So if I click it and I click load, which is quite a cool sound. Of course, we can change also the mix. So now it's 50. Let's change this to about, let's say, 35. Right, so it's a really cool sound for drums. Here I have a bass sound with the VCO from VCV and being sequenced by the div sequencer from JW, right? It's going through an MFX, but it's bypassed for now. And the filter, and there is an envelope on the filter, it will sound like this. Right, a really simple voice. But now let's explore a bit the ensemble, right, which will be a sort of a chorus, and let me unbypass this. Right, and there are different modes. So for now, this is on Juno 1, right, Juno 2, like this you have different sort of choruses or ensembles that you can choose from. And pay attention, of course, to the mono and stereo, right? So this is, for example, mono to stereo, but this Solina will be mono to mono. But I think I will go with wide. Right, and again, also here we have different parameters, so we have depth. And we have also pitch shifting. Right, maybe just a bit. And we can also change the mix, of course. Right, so let's modulate the mix. If I go to CV1, I have here again a sequencer that I can use, right, the ADDR sequencer, so I will send this to CV1. Right, and now there is just a bit more movement and it's not static. And of course, I want to mention again, if you run out of the CV inputs, there is also the expander you can use that will add 4 more CV inputs. I have here another voice. I have here the FM operator, again being sequenced by the same sequencer, divsec. And here it's set on the delay, and there is a parameter here that will reverse the delays. So the delays or the echoes are reversed. So let's have a listen to this. Right, so this is also quite interesting. Here I have some drums, so I have again the gate sequencer sequencing some of the VCV drums, so there is a kick. And there is a snare going through a reverb with another MFX. And hi-hats. Right, and now all of these drums I'm mixing and sending them through a frequency shifter, which is also an algorithm here in the MFX. Right, so if we go to mode, we have frequency shifter or ring modulator. Right, and we can change the shift amount. Right, of course also this you can modulate. There is also high cut, envelope follower and mix. For now, let's leave it at this. Maybe change the shift. So I want to show you that the MFX module is great also for all sorts of different textures and granular-like effects. I have here marbles sequencing plats for mutable instruments. This is going through the echo, the first algorithm, and it's set to be in reverse, which means that the echoes will play again in reverse. Right, already we get an interesting sound, and then I have a copy of this going to another echo algorithm. This is a crumbular echo, which is a granular echo. So it will granulize this signal and will add even more texture. I have also some modulation here on the time. Here I have, again, the kick from VCV going through a bandpass filter, which is modulated, and it's going through, again, another crumbular echo algorithm with some modulation, right? So it will sound like this. And again, a copy of this is going to another MFX module with echo, reverb-like echo. Right? So So really interesting to add all sorts of different textures and granular-like effects. I have here, again, some drums with the VCV drums. The snare is going through a reverb, again with another MFX module. And with some modulation, so sometimes the reverb will cut off. And I'm sending the snare through another bandpass filter, and again with some modulated echoes. If I solo this. By the way, I'm sending the drums to a group, which is going to a distortion here with another MFX module. And I have here some chords, right? So the chord, first of all, from another plats will go through a reverb, which will make this a stereo voice. So the stereo is going to two MFX modules with sidechain compression from the kick. Right, I'm using two again because it's stereo, and then this is going through some distortion, so it will sound like this. And I have here also a bass. Again, I'm using the Bordel sequencing Opulus, and again going through some distortion with another MFX. And in all of the examples I've shown before, all of them we have the MFX as a send reverb. Right, so again you can see how useful this module is, especially because you can add as many as you want, but also all the different algorithms, there's different CV modulation possibilities. You can really create interesting sounds with it, unique textures. And that was it. Thank you again, ALM, for sponsoring this video. I hope all of you enjoyed this and found it somewhat useful. Cheers!